No mai haere mai. It's the Huddy Hui. Find Huddy Sports on Instagram and Facebook. huddysports.co.nz. Now let's kōrero.
Kia ora folks, and welcome to the Huddy Hui, episode 154, our second Hui of the week, and it's great to be able to bring you the Silverstream and Town traditional earlier this afternoon. It was a 38 points to 17 win for Silverstream, so they go to top of the table, remain undefeated, and bring home the Old Boys Cup for another year. Now, we're also heading into the finals action of Wellington Club Rugby, the second to last week of Club Rugby in Wellington. And we thought we'll catch up with one of the players that was part of the victorious Paremata-Plimmerton team last week. Tane McMillan Parata is our guest on the Hui tonight. Tane, many thanks for coming on the Hui. It was a thriller of a game on Saturday against Petone. You must have been absolutely shattered after that try in the 86th minute.
To be fair, I think we were all shattered in the first 20 minutes. It was a bit of a swimming fest, and it took a while to get the wheels in motion. So, I mean, it was anyone's game until that last play. So, yeah, it was a very long effort, but we were lucky on that day to come away with the spoils.
Thoughts on the field, because it was certainly rough, and of course it didn't help that there was a whole lot of downpour on Friday night and early Saturday morning.
I think fortunately for us, the last two games, well, the last round of the Swindale Shield, we played in very similar conditions. So we got a field, and we're lucky we knew the home field. So in ways that might have played a little bit in our favour. I think the game played before also helped, slowing the pitch down a bit. So yeah, it was a very forward-driven game, and we're just lucky we could finish with some good quality backs.
Yeah, you mentioned it was a slow start against Petone. What was the message at half-time to turn it around and fight back to win?
Well, there's not too much different that happens every week. I mean, if you're 40 minutes into a game, you know where you're at by then, and you're in or you're out. We never felt like we were out, even when Petone had scored with 10 minutes to go. It's the time's in your favour, and with only a 1 point deficit, you're not chasing a big scoreboard.
There was a bit of issue with the scrums late in the game. What was happening? Not Parramatta, of course, but Petone.
Yeah, I can't comment on what was happening on the other team. We felt like we were very dominant, and they'd gone through a few props, and I think when the last prop started taking his time, the ref pretty much ordered him off the field, and then it took it to uncontested scrums, which was a bit of a pain, but there was still plenty of time on the board, so we managed to work our way through that.
Of course, season to date for the Premier's side, you've got the win, you're into the Prelim semi-finals, but how's the season been overall for the Paremata-Plimmerton side?
I mean, if you compare it to the last the 3 seasons, sorry, I mean, obviously we had a dream run in 2023. It's hard to kind of repeat that in the 2024 season. So coming back into 2025, I think we started slow again. But we've proven through our games that we've definitely got the quality. It's been a roller coaster, not going to lie. But you just target it game by game, and it was a hard way to finish the round and then start the next round. But I think Saturday's performance that's just gone has really kind of tied it right back into the contention is right there. So yeah, it's exciting.
Season was a bit of a slow start for the team. How did the team change things around, particularly early in the season, losing to Maris St. Pat's? What has changed to get the team to finish within the top 4 of the Swindale Shield?
Well, the games are pretty much won in moments, and the first round against Johnsonville, we're finding our feet, personnel, places, quite a young stock coming through to experience Premier Rugby. Wainui was a gritty win. The Maris game was where we thought we'd kind of found our stride again, but that it's just shown when you turn off with a quality team. They bounced back with 19 quite quick points to, a great upset of the season, and it was also their first victory under the new head coach, and Jason was really happy with that, which was good for him. And we definitely found our strides after that. Just slowly you work on the small things, and like a game's won and lost in moments, and it's learning from those moments, how you move forward through them.
Was the win against Huddy Boys Marist midway through the season a turning point for the team? Because a lot of people didn't expect you to win by that much at the Hut Rec.
I think naturally we're quite blessed with our stocks of raw talent in the team, and when every cog fires at the same time, from 1 to 8, that 9 to 15, they just flourish naturally. So I think that was the big thing, is that the forwards muscled up. I think that was round 4, muscled up, did their work, and it let everyone else kind of enjoy rugby as it's supposed to be done.
Tawa, who you played back-to-back last week of the Swindale Shield and week 1 of the Jubilee Cup qualifiers, losing by 2 points in each of those games. What did you learn as a team that helped you to win late against Petone? Because talking to a few people before last Saturday's game, it was games that you probably should have won against Tawa.
Yeah, the stats were put to us at training that with the 19 and 18 minutes to go, you're up by 12 points. And you feel like you're in control. And once again, you take it back to the small moments. A quick penalty, you get to 10 minutes down. They score a try. All of a sudden, it's within striking range again. And you've just got to turn off that defensive. You can't defend a lead. You've got to keep attacking. And when it comes to Petone, like I said earlier, 10 minutes to go, you're down by, I think it was 4 points. So we knew we had to score a try. And the belief is always there, and it's kind of easier to control when you've got the ball in your own hands. So I think that was a big changing point. If you've got control of the game, if you take it 10 minutes overtime, it's fine as long as you've got the control. So that was a big point. I think it was quite cheeky of young Mika, who scored the winning try, as he was on the bench, and he'd even told the sideline that I'm going to come on, I'm going to score the winning try. So having that confidence on your bench, someone who's going to come up and own the moment. It could have been a flop, but it's the confidence that gets you through, and it's key moments like that when someone puts their hand up. I think the forwards had done a lot of bashing for that moment, and it's all it took was one moment of brilliance. Team try.
Let's talk about some of the characters within the team. Who are they? Because you don't have Smokey this year.
The big smoke dogs pushed himself down to enjoy a bit more family time and enjoy the reserve grade with the punters. But you could pick any one of them. You've got the guy that always finds the camera after he scores a try. You see, that cheeky smile doesn't kind of reflect the heart and commitment that he puts into the team. Old head, the oldest in the team, Dale Sabah. He gets on our nerves just as much as everyone else is in the opposition. So it's a true character there. And then I don't know who else needs a name drop. I know Sione Baker would like to hear his name. Because he's a young talent that's come through, and he backs himself 100%. But I could name everyone in the team. It's really hard to put a special character on individuals when they're all amazing by themselves.
The flankers for Paremata-Plimmerton have worked really well this year. Tell us about your fellow flankers in the team.
Yeah, so Christian, obviously our captain for the year. He's never put less than 110% in. So you've got someone like that who's leading the way, is amazing. We've got young Trent coming through from our Colts. He made a debut, I think, last year, and it's just trying to get this young blood in. They're boys that wear their hearts on their sleeves. They give their all the effort they've got. It's just obviously getting into the right games and understanding how rugby can be played and how enjoyable it can also be when you're playing at the top level of Wellington rugby. So those are the two main flankers that we've had through the year. Zeke gets in and out between the locking and that. Alex Fido is always a pleasure to play against, because he's another man who's got the experience under his belt to lead in certain situations that we don't get the pleasure of ever experiencing in our lives. So yeah.
The coaching staff of the team, who are they and what do they bring to the team environment?
So we've got Matt Patua, very, very, very calm, speaks very poised, kind of gets that niceness in the way. Got Frank Rees, says it how it is. There's no sensory talking, but another man who speaks with his passion, speaks with his mind, speaks with a lot of passion as well. So yeah, Frank's an amazing guy. Gerard, he's lived it. He's played it. So he's always got his 2 cents to add in there as well. Tane Karepa, always there to help out with the boys' warm-ups. Yeah. And probably our main coach actually who doesn't get enough recognition is Fraser Edwards. He's the practically the head coach, the manager, the director, and the water boy all in one. So without him, the wheels really fall off at our club.
Gerard Vasavalu, who you mentioned, the director of rugby at the club, what has he done to make the club one of the strongest in the Wellington club rugby?
Well, I think he can bring the best out of players individually. So he'll talk to you. He obviously does this. He's a man that you don't understand how much research he puts into individuals. So his key asset is understanding people and getting them firing. A lot of players that I have played against and have been coached by him, that's what they admire about him. They're the ones that he finds the little ones. It's the little text messages, the little everything else. He just the 1% extra that he can find in you to make sure that you're kind of ready for rugby. And if you work hard enough, the talent comes out.
You've been part of the team since the club came into Premier Rugby, and you've been through the highs and the lows and the highs. But what did you learn from that period of time when the team went through those lows that helped you grow as a player?
So for me, my first game at the club I was still at college, and I think we had school holidays. And I got to run with my two older brothers. I think back then was the senior threes against X-Men. And that day there made me like, oh yeah, rugby at home as my junior club was great. And then come back in 2011, and it was kind of a survival mode. It felt like most of those years, avoiding relegation back to when you got promoted and demoted, pending on your performance for that year. So we managed to avoid relegation a few times, and then once the comp was revamped into Premier status, we'd managed the year before to make the Hardham Cup, and through some good coaching, to mention a few people, was the Alfonso Parsons from Norths. We had David Burney and the crew, and we also got the talents of Phil Gibbs from Huddle Boys. So everyone's come in and made their little dent and made us believe that Premier Rugby can be played by any club. It's just getting the best out of the stock you've got, and we managed for a time there with the limited stock to our area without bringing players in, that we could get close to teams. It was just getting that 1% more to really enjoy Premier Rugby.
And where was that turning point for the team to become what is now a force in Wellington Club Rugby?
So I think the first year I've played under some coaching where we've got so close. I mean, Justin Wilson came and we got very close on a lot of matches. And then by the time that Gerard and the coaching staff that we've got now had come in, we won a few trophies through interclubs. We won a few good games. And then I think it made it a bit more attractive. And then getting to that 2024 season, 23 season, the turning point was losing to Upper Hutt in that final penalty play. I think it was Sam Clark at the time who said, you don't settle for this. It's not all good to lose. And then just slowly the strides started getting bigger and bigger and bigger. The belief was there, And yeah, from then onwards, we've known we can pretty much win any game we go into.
You have played roughly about 190 first team games for the club. When was your first official team game, and who was it against?
My first official team, it's hard to know. I don't know where the club rugby records are skewed.
Mm.
I come back from a stint in Australia in 2010, and the club captain or the manager at that time said that whole season I had managed to play under my brother's name because he had gone off to play league because the transfer wasn't so quick back then. So, but I can't remember my exact first game for the club. I remember going to Dannyvik for a pre-season, and we were lucky enough to have Frankie Collins still coaching at the club. He was coaching the senior threes team, and we went up there just for, I think the Colts boys come up, the senior ones and senior threes, and then all of a sudden we're low on front row, and you all of a sudden you're flanking next to this prop who's probably in his 60s at that stage, and it's Jerry Collins' father, which was that's a cool moment for me. And there was an odd club game there that season. You get to play against All Black royalty in a sense. So yeah, that's probably a good moment back then. But I couldn't remember my first club rugby game. The jerseys were cotton, the fields were muddy, and everyone was bigger than me. So
You've played number 6 last week for the Premiers. Is that your main position on the blind side? And if so, why?
It seems to be a sticking position. I suppose it's just who's available, the game we're playing. I'm keen to be anywhere, left, right, back, as long as it's not left out. So yeah, blindside is a kind of a funny position. You get a bit more freedom in a sense, and you get to do a bit more hunting. So yeah, I'm comfortable just being on the field, to be honest. So yeah, I don't know if it changes for me where I play.
Who gave you the nickname the King of Ngati Toa?
I can tell you who it wasn't. It wasn't my wife. She'd hate that. And it wasn't Ronnie Cooper, because naturally he's been the king or the mayor of the area for the rugby club for a long time for his contribution. So I was a bit shocked. I don't know. It wasn't quite April Fool's on Sunday when I saw the King of Ngati Toa Main, because it's naturally that ground is our iwi's stomping ground.
That's right.
So it's kind of it's a big title to be heard. So I'll hear it. I don't know if I'll accept that name, because it's a big one to take. But yeah, I couldn't tell you. Maybe there's someone in the social committee who's got a crush on me or something like that. So if it's you out there, let me know.
You mentioned the ground is closely associated with your iwi. Who is your iwi, and how important is Maori culture to you?
So for me, the land itself, obviously, it's where Kupe come in and laid his anchor stone when he discovered Aotearoa, New Zealand. And then there's also the old army barracks there, and it's kind of as an icon for me as a kid was playing on those ruins, and now they're protected, so the kids don't get the joy of playing in them. But yeah, I'm from Ngati Toa, Ngati Raukawa, and Te Awa ki Whakarongotai. My main iwi that I affiliate to, Ngati Toa, our local pā to Ngati Toa Domain is Hongweka, where I currently live, which is cool. So yeah, the ties to the land are from a junior rugby club, and also obviously your heritage history is quite amazing for us. So we're quite lucky that I get to call it home on more than one.
Yep.
One ground of my background.
Oh, that is fantastic. Of course, let's go back to 2 years ago. 2023 was a special year for the club. Winning the Swindale Shield for the first time. How special was that? You had to go out to Rugby League Park to take on Old Boys University in a virtual final.
Yeah, well, it was a surreal week leading up to that, because all of a sudden there was these kind of new rules and exceptions that we pretty much just knew we had to get a bonus point to win the Swindale Shield. It wasn't even, the game didn't even have to be won. And then all of a sudden OBU had a chance of actually snatching it from us at one point. So we knew we had to go out there and win the game. And I think for the first half, we'd scored 4 tries and we'd pretty much, in our minds, sealed the deal. But then the OBU team are not one to shy away from. We found that out again this year. So yeah, winning that game there was definitely a highlight. It didn't really quite sink in until I'd got back to the club, and I bumped into John Vardy, who just lost his oldest boy Adam.
Yeah.
And I've known him as a hard man my whole life. His other son, Scott Vardy, has told me how much of a hard man he is, and his days back in the club were a lot different, the social life, and seeing a man that proud of the club's achievements, and seeing his emotion. I actually just looked at the photo that I got with him that night. Was quite surreal. It reminded me of what that season did for the club. So yeah, that was amazing. We got welcomed back into the club, and we had a very, very, very good night.
Yeah. Now, also that year as well, the team made the Jubilee Cup final, unfortunately losing to Oriental Rongotai. What did you learn about playing in the main final of Wellington Club Rugby? How's it different from any other game?
Well, you've got everything to lose, but you don't realise it until you've lost it. So I think that game was. I think the conditions were a lot different to what we'd played in all year. And from the warm up, it was kind of a lot different. But you normally, by kickoff, you can get the groove of the game. And Ori's just came with the right recipe for that day. They clearly wanted it a lot more, and that's how they played. And even if we got close that day, we probably needed another 10-20% to finish that game off. So yeah, we're kind of on the back pedal the whole game, and they just had another gear every answer. I think Dom absolutely took us apart that game, so it was a full credit to him. But his whole team shift was just focused on winning that game. So yeah, that was a lesson learnt. Second place is also the first loser, so it's a very hard one to swallow.
And you were captain of the team that year, of course, as you mentioned. Christian's taken over the reins this year. What did captaincy teach you about being a leader?
It's a really hard thing. You don't realise you're leading people at times. So for me, throughout my life, whether it's work, school, any group you're a part of, you're always just trying to do your best. Leadership's not something that you can really learn. So I don't feel like I am a leader, because it's really a hard thing to get a grasp of. So you've just got to put your best foot forward and try your best, and hopefully your actions reflect. Yeah, I was very lucky through those years to have good natural leaders around you. So it makes your job a lot easier if you're just doing your portion of the job. It all falls into place.
You're a product of Kapiti College. How was your time there?
Yeah, that was a good. My two older brothers, my oldest brother actually started at Hibs. By third term, he was shifted up to Kapiti. He was politely asked to leave, and I think that was one of the best shifts. Our dad went to Kapiti College as he played back in the Mark Shaw days. That's one of his claim to fames of playing with him at college. So going up there was good. It got us into another area and to meet a lot of other family members from up those ways, and also playing against a lot of the Paraparumu juniors that we got to throughout the whole junior rugby clubs. Got to join them and be team members with them, which was quite cool. Started off in the under 55s, graduated to 65s a year after, and then by fifth form, still weighing about 65 kilos, managed to step up and jump into the first 15, which was cool. I think we were in third division that year. It was a good experience. I was still playing number 8 then at about 55, 60 kilos. But yeah, it was just another eye-opener. You're playing with 18-year-olds. You're still 14, 15 at those stages. Kapiti was a good place. And then I think by our last year, we managed to get into Div 1 of the Premiership. First game up was against Rongotai College, rugby powerhouse, still back in 2009. We managed to lock in a draw. Club rugby used to do in the back of the Dominion a post, and we were the big headline that week. Kapiti College 16 all. Reality came in the next week. Wellington College come up and put 80 points on us.
Oh, jeez.
Kapiti as a rugby school learnt a lot. Me as a person was kind of good to get out of our area and meet a whole lot of new people, spread the wings, and Kapiti was a good college.
Yeah, strong family connection with the club, especially. You mentioned about your brothers. Who are they? And I believe you all played together once, 1 year. Is that correct?
Yeah, we've got a photo at the club, and we're quite lucky that it's up on the club is against Wainui. I think that might have been the 2013 or 14 season. So I've got my oldest brother, Tairo. He's 4 years older. He's about up to my shoulder, but he can play anywhere from centre to outside wings. Quick off the mark. A low centre of gravity helps him a lot. Next brother is Uppy. He's 2 years older. He naturally used to be a fullback. Found out that he had lost a bit of his pace, and then went into the front row. He's not much smaller than me, so there's not a lot gained from him being in the front row, but he naturally can play flankers as well. So he's a engine that doesn't kind of stop going. I think he's got I don't know if he's listening and it minds me saying this, but he's got a mental switch in his head that seems to just turn off. No pain or kind of clear thinking. Nothing of the natural selection kind of works, and he just keeps going, and his talent just flourishes under that. And then my twin brother, who's younger, is another centre who can play second five, centre, fullback. Might lack a little pace on the wing, but can get the job done. Who's another good natural talent. We've often, more than not, played in the same team the whole way through our rugby lives, right from the under sixes right through to Premiership rugby.
You've also played for the Wellington Murray team. Tell us about that team and the environment. Yeah,
that team there's more of a club that once you join, you're locked in. And I was lucky enough to get shoulder tapped one game after playing Johnsonville. Andrew Wharikura was the coach then, and he asked if I was kind of keen, and I said, oh yeah, I don't know what it is, but me and my brother used to be the Wellington Māori Colts ball boys a long time ago as juniors for Paremata-Plimmerton. Our Uncle Bob Smith was the manager, so we kind of got a taste of what it was. But all I remember was a lot of big boys and playing some fun rugby. And the end of that 2013 season, managed to jump in and have a good end of season and found out what it's all about. Like I said, it's a club that kind of pushes to play that Māori style of rugby, that free-flowing rugby. And by then you've played your 20-odd club games that season, and everyone's not looking too much forward to trainings. You just train once a week, get together, sign off the game plan, and then go play rugby on Saturday, it was always fun because you're just playing what's in front of you with a whole bunch of different club rugby players. Some of them might have been senior twos, some were Petu Henry, who was in the Wellington Lions. So the range of players that you've got in there. But I still think that's one of the most untapped talent is Māori rugby.
Yep.
And Wellington, we get a lot of good players coming through. They don't get to see the higher honours, but it's great when they don't get to see the higher honours. You get to play with them, and the team flourishes.
Each club has their own way of honouring achievements. What are those significant achievements within the Paremata-Plimmerton club?
So back when I first started, you had to play 100 top 10 games, which would have been senior ones mainly back then, to earn your blazer. I mean, not too many clubs do that now with 100 games because it's the seasons are a bit shorter. The players you get broken a lot quicker and easier. So now at our club, it's 34 Premier matches will get you your blazer. men's and women's, which you kind of there's a lot more players getting it now, which is great because the service of 2.5 to 3 years to a club deserves that kind of recognition. Your first cap, you'll get your club tie, so you get to finally tie up that top button. Then you get your 50 pin. I think recently our women's team have recognised the 75 game pin as the milestone because once again the ladies' game is struggling for teams. So Melia, who got her 75th game this year, was, I mean, it's a testament to a person like that to stick at a club for 75 matches in today's women's format because it takes you a long time to get there.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then after that you get your 100th cap for 100 Premier games, and yeah, then every game after that's a bonus.
Yep. Oh, fantastic. What are the biggest strengths of your game?
It was quite funny. Frank Rees asked us last week to give our personal bests. End of the game, he asked, was that your PB? And I said, no, it was far from it. Because some games it does take you a little bit to get into the game. So I couldn't tell you what my strengths of the game is. I'd like to say nowadays it's... I used to love running the ball as a young kind of headless, when you're young, you just think running the ball's the fun part of the game. But now it's picking your moments. It's kind of finding the cheat code to the game. So where you can be more effective with these younger players, more agile, fitter players playing around you. You've got to, know the rules a bit better. You've got to play the moments, do the sneaky things you can get away with, I think. And you see that with the older players that the body might not be quite there, but they're very effective because you play to your strengths, which is knowledge. Because, your body might slow up, but your mind's always there.
What is the one game that you've played where you've learnt the most about yourself as a player?
I think one of the most memorable games that I can remember some key moments was playing against Porneke. It might have been I couldn't say, maybe 17. I think Dane Coles was matched up at number 8 with me, and that was the theme of the week. He's coming back from his injuries, getting some minutes. Everyone's like, "Oh, you're playing against him," and I think I took that as opportunity to kind of challenge myself, not challenge him, because you're a fool if you want to challenge an individual, especially of that caliber. And it was kind of a belief moment that just play the moments. Managed to score 2 tries. Did a silly thing that game. After I scored that try, Colsey was right there. I got to try to hug him. I've seen it in NRL where you pull the opposition in to rub the salt into the wounds, and we were up at that stage, and it was great. And yeah, I picked the wrong bully that game because I brought him in once. He pushed me away. Brought him the second time, and with his strength, he pulled me up with one hand and kind of had me on my feet hanging on the ground. And you've got to respect players. You got to not be cheeky. You pick your moments, and that was a bad moment. But all in good jest. Shook hands after the game. He hung around and he shook everyone's hands, took photos of all the juniors, and anyone else asked for it. And even to this moment, it's always a good little moment that I got to remember that no matter who you're playing against, always respect them. And sadly enough, I was actually getting to play against Uppy that game, which was great. But sadly, we didn't go the full 80 minutes and we ended up losing that game. So lesson learnt, play your moments, but you've got to play every minute.
Oh, it's interesting you mentioned about trying to pull players in. Dane Coles famously did that with Bowden Barrett when he went to the Blues and they played the Hurricanes that time. Pulled them into a try celebration.
Yeah, and then he managed to, I think we lost that game that day, so it was kind of bittersweet.
Yeah.
For Hurricanes, but you like that tongue in cheek, and you hope you can still have it in rugby, but you still got to respect no matter who you play.
Yeah, exactly right. Who's been the biggest influences in your rugby journey?
Influences in my rugby journey, I think my influences they change every week. I mean, as a kid, I I didn't get to watch like my dad play or anyone like that, but going down to Ngati Domain as a primary intermediate kid, going and watching, I think they were playing senior twos, and I still remember watching the game where they made promotion into senior one. I mean, as a club, that was an influence for me. Playing with my brothers, especially the older ones, was always a cool influence. But right through my Paremata-Plimmerton career, it's always those senior heads, the Scott Vardys, the Te Ariki Kitongas, the ones that I played flag with while I was at college, and all my brothers' mates that were, in my eyes, these big guys that they were like. I remember, I don't know if anyone knows this guy, Mikey Cromie, but he came to one of our college after balls, and I just thought he was this adult, and then getting to play alongside him and Hayden Stewart, there were these older guys, way older than me, and then all of a sudden you're playing club rugby with them, and that's quite cool because you felt like you were a kid at that stage, and then you're playing with some of those kind of idols, you could call them, because they're older, you respect them, and then playing with them. But nowadays it's all the young fellas coming through. Apart from Dale, who is the oldest in our team, getting to finally play with him instead of against him is quite cool. And then at the Māoris, getting to rub shoulders with good talent that has gone on to do some bigger things in club rugby and on the international stages. So yeah, there's a lot of people. It's hard to remember.
Before the game last Saturday, there was a crew doing a bit of a film of live stream of the Prem Reserves, and I believe it was your wife who was coming down the scaffold tower and said, "When you start your broadcast, can you please tell my husband he needs to retire?" So, if Paremata-Plimmerton win the Jubilee Cup, will you retire or keep playing?
I don't think I'll retire. If we win that Jubilee Cup final, it'll definitely be a tick box. But we've got to get there first, so get through Huddy boys. But the retire theme has been going probably since 2022. And it's more of a reminder to let me know that I'm not the youngest guy. You do have a family and kids that do want your attention. So this year I've managed to do a lot better in that sense, is be present as a dad. I get to coach my son, which is quite cool, along with James Coburn and his two boys.
Oh, fantastic.
So I'm appreciative for being able to do that a bit more this year and being a bit more present with my kids. So that's the retire theme. It's my wife wanting me to put our family first as opposed to rugby. But it's like habits. Rugby's all I've known for the last, what are we now, 14 years at the club. So habits can be broken, which is fine. But yeah, you just got to be sure. So yeah, you never know. We just take it a game at a time. I've always said that, as it's your last year. I said it could be my last game every week. So I'm just happy if I get selected to play that week. You go out and get to play, and it's a privilege. So whether I end up playing punters next year with James Smokey Cochrane or back playing at the top end, well, I mean, there's plenty of young boys coming through, so I'll happily hand over any jersey. But like a jersey, it's got to be taken from you. You don't just give it up.
Of course, as you mentioned, you've got Huddy boys this Saturday out at the Hut Rec in the Prelim final. How is the team approaching this challenge, considering you bet them earlier in the year?
Well, I think the blueprint's there for our team, and we know how to do it. It's just execution, and like I think my thing tonight has been moments. So it's noticing the moment and capitalizing on your moments. So that game's not going to be a given to anyone on that day. So I'm glad we're out there playing on Hut Rec. It's a really good field to play rugby on. So the energy's there. I think the last time we played in the Jubilee Cup semi-final against OBU, to me it didn't feel like a semi-final. It was another game. Our effort that year had been so fluid. It had been so great. The players themselves had just kept winning the moments. And it wasn't until full time when someone said you're in the final, it kind of sunk in. So now going into a semi-final, you know what's expected and what it means to get through. So yeah, it's there for the grabbing.
Fantastic. Well, many thanks for coming on the Hui tonight, Tane, and all the best on Saturday. And may Paremata-Plimmerton go well, and you never know, you might be in the final. But as you said, you've got to get the job done first. But many thanks for coming on, and it's been a great chat.
All right, thank you very much for your time, and I appreciate all the work that you and Eddie and Julian seem to put into all these stats and all the extras that kind of, they don't go unnoticed by us club rugby players. We think it's a good thing you guys do, so keep it up. And thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Tane. And that was a fantastic interview with Tane McMillan Parata. He's been a long servant of the Paremata-Plimmerton Football Club, and it's good to see people like him still continue on in the game and give back. And and he'll be looking forward his team on Saturday against Huddy Boys Mara. So let's talk about the Jubilee Cup. We're into the Prelim finals, and of course, as mentioned, Hutt are taking on Paremata-Plimmerton out at the Hutt Rec, and Tawa versus Johnsonville at this stage out at Lyndhurst Park. I'll be interested to see how Lyndhurst Park holds up. We're hoping Adam Julian might be looking to do an audio broadcast on our Huddy Sports page, so we'll keep you up to date with that. Huddy Sports this weekend, we're actually out covering first 15 games that we'll be talking about very soon. In the Hardham Cup, we've got the semi-finals. Got Porniki versus Old Boys University and Upper Hutt versus Marist St. Pat's. The winner of that will go through and play for the Hardham VC Memorial Cup. It's been given an upgrade as earlier back in May. Good presentation at the Batoni Club with the Army there, and it's a beautiful looking trophy. And one would say it probably is worthy, knowing the history of Hardham, that it probably should be our main trophy in Wellington Club Rugby. But at this stage, it's still the Jubilee Cup. Earlier today, first 15 rugby, Silverstream 38, St. Pat's Town 17 out at Silverstream. It was a beautiful day out there. It was like spring weather. And Silverstream, that was only their fourth game on their number one. They've looked after it, and it was in immaculate condition. Hasn't been torn up to shreds. But St. Pat's Town, they came to play, but unfortunately the flankers of for Silverstream today, led by Kingston Hill, and in particular Elijah Solomona, were outstanding today. And Fletcher Cooper as well was guiding and running and kicking brilliantly for Silverstream. Stars for St. Pat's Town, in particular, Remy Fitzimanu went well today. Charlie Carter at the back wasn't afraid to have a run. So let's have a look at the first 15 Premiership this weekend, and heading into the second to last round of the Premiership before we get to the semi-finals. We've sort of got three teams locked up already. That's Silverstream, Wellington College and Town. Fourth place is still relatively open, but Rathkill might have a chance. Rathkill have St. Bernard's at home this Saturday at 12 p.m. And in the last round, they have to take on Wellington College at Wellington College. So I think a big win here today might actually secure that win. St. Pat's Town have a traditional against Rongotai at Evans Bay Park at 2:30 p.m. And that's one of the two games we're bringing you on Huddy Sports, on Huddy Sports YouTube. The other one, of course, is Wellington College versus Tawa College at Wellington College, also on Huddy Sports YouTube. So two games today kicking off, this Saturday kicking off at 2:30 p.m. Silverstream play Scots out at 2:30 at Silverstream, and Wairarapa College play Hutt International Boys School. Hutt International, that game kicks off at 12, and Hibs simply, if they win there, then they go up against St. Pat's Town the following week, and they have a good chance if they can win that game. They could sneak into fourth place, but it all goes based on results. At this stage, it's Rathkill that look like they might secure that fourth spot. So here on Huddy Sports, we'd like to acknowledge our sponsors. Their videos will be playing at the end of this Huddy Hui tonight. That is Mike Pinfold Plumbing and Drain Laying Limited. He's been with us since day dot. Louise Reddy of New Zealand Travel Brokers. Jean Hickton Funeral Directors of Gavin Murphy and the team there. And our new sponsor that came on board this year, EG Fresh Range Eggs. You can find them around the Wellington region, and it's great to have them on board as well. So two games this Saturday, and maybe we might be brewing a hockey game tomorrow. It might be depending on the weather. But have a look on our socials for that. Mind you can find us on social media, Instagram and Facebook. Also, if you're willing to help Huddy Sports, we're always in the need for wanting to keep what we do free for all of you to watch. So head to huddysports.co.nz or email us at huddysportsnz@gmail.com or find us on Facebook and Instagram. So that's been the Huddy Hui for tonight. We'll be back next Wednesday, the 23rd of June, for our Jubilee and Hardham Cup final preview, and it's great. We're also going to be bringing you the Jubilee and Hardham Cup finals live on Huddy Sports YouTube next Saturday. So make sure you tune in and watch those games. So that's been the Huddy Hui for tonight. I am Brad Hudson. Ciao for now.
It's the Huddy Hui. You can find Huddy Sports on Instagram and Facebook. And check out huddysports.co.nz.
Blocked drains, leaky pipes, don't let plumbing problems sideline your day. Call the team, Mike Pinfold Plumbing and Drain Laying Limited. Mike has been our sponsor since the very beginning, from quick fixes to full renovations. He's got the tools, the team, and the know-how to get the job done right. First time, every time. Local, reliable, and always on time. That's how Mike plays the game. Find Mike Pinfold at Pinfold Plumbing at extra.co.nz 027 430 4351. Mike Pinfold Plumbing and Drain Laying Limited. Also Google Mike Pinfold Plumbing and let the pros handle the flow.
Hi, Gavin Murphy here
And Cassie Murphy.
from G and Higton Funeral Directors.
Don't leave it up to someone else to tell your story. Do it now when you can enjoy being part of the conversation.
With a prepaid funeral, you can have music, readings and venue all chosen by you.
For your free funeral planning pack with everything you need to get started, go to our website at gnhigton.co.nz/pre-planning.
The Huddy Hui, Huddy Sports captivating sports show. The Huddy Hui covers Wellington Club Rugby as well as other sporting topics of debate. Tune in on YouTube during the rugby playing months as host Brad Hudson interviews rugby players and other sporting personalities across the Wellington region and the rest of New Zealand. Catch the Huddy Hui streaming on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, YouTube, and wherever good yarns are heard. The Huddy Hui live on Huddy Sports. Here at Huddy Sports, we love a good game plan. And when it comes to travel, our go-to is Louise Reddy from New Zealand Travel Brokers. Whether it's a sports tour, a family break, or that bucket list trip, she'll get you there stress-free with all the best deals around. She's local, she's experienced, and she backs the game like we do, and she's a great supporter of Huddy Sports. Look up Louise Reddy at louisereddy.nztravelbrokers.co.nz or email louise@louise.reddy@newzealandtravelbrokers.co.nz. Travel smart and travel like a pro. As here on Huddy Sports, we're always wanting to keep our content free on YouTube. So the idea of sponsors, we can promote you on live stream, our social media pages and our website. It's good to support the local community and helps keep Huddy Sport free for all to watch. So if you're interested to helping Huddy Sports, go to huddysports.co.nz or to our email address, huddysportsnz@gmail.com. Ciao for now.